The Kuva Seer. 21% crit chance, 33% status chance. The multiplier is 1.9 for the crit, not that big. It does a radial attack of 69 corrosive damage. That could be really useful. This should be a vastly improved version of the Seer. I'm kind of looking forward to trying this out. This was not done on purpose. It ended up being the last Kuva based weapon I ended up getting, and probably because of this, the last of the Kuva based weapon videos I will put up. I'm not promising that one. You will probably know better than I will because, well, I don't have it. What I do have is a lich that I have just traded a clanmate for, so thanks again to that particular clanmate, I should say, because even though it was offered to me before, I have messed up and ended up with a Kuva, ended up with a lich that stopped us from actually trading for it. Well, there it is. I finally have it, and it's finally time to take this out. And my hype for this weapon has been building since the Kuva liches were added. I've gone through all the other weapons. They have all been leveled up. My former collection has been decimated. So this had better have been worth all of this time to actually get my hands on. And I am really tempted on leaving that spinning there for a few days, because I think I've done maybe 3 videos on the new ones. No, 5. There is a lot of them. But I don't have anything left to level up, so give me this gun. That was a complete nightmare. From now on, I'm only taking out ephemera ones. Yes. 4 mods that will probably end up staying on this: Hornet Strike, Target Cracker, Pistol Gambit. Auger Pact, probably 2 of the dual stat elemental mods. Unknown. You can put in there whatever you want, but for a gun like this, that may be a bad idea. More than likely, it will be a case of Lethal Torrent and Barrel Diffusion, as it always is in those 2 slots. No matter which way you build this, if you build it for crit using the prime crit mods, or you build it for status using the dual elemental mods, you can get it to 60% crit with 98% status if you just use 2, or if you use all 4 of the dual stat elemental mods, you can get it to 100% status. It depends on how you use this. You can get it to 99.8% using 3 of the dual status and then the crit mods on top. I found this approach to work slightly better, adding blast in there, taking out Auger Pact and throwing in the blast one, the fire damage one, because that added with the cold that this came with, added blast, and it had corrosion on it. You can of course swap corrosion for viral if you so please, or radiation, or whatever elemental combos you want to go on this. The ice is fixed, sadly. At least on mine, it just depends what perk weapon bonus yours actually came with as to how you actually set this thing up. But yeah, it's a Seer. You go into using this not expecting much because, again, it's a Seer. This weapon has been a joke, but I don't want to say between me and somebody else, because there's a few people all make the same kind of joke, and you can see how what they're doing there, because it's the weapon that you get from Vor. You farm Vor for it on Mercury. This is one of the first weapons that you can get in the game. Kuva based version of it was not expecting much. This was a huge surprise, going out being the last of the Kuva weapons on a high note. I expected it to be a little bit better than the normal Seer. To find out it is a huge improvement was just great. Yes, it does more puncture. Yes, it does more slash. Yes, it has less impact. It has 20% extra status. It has 16% extra crit chance. It's these things that made it better. The best thing about it, like all Kuva weapons seem to do, the rounds explode upon contact, meaning punch through is kind of a bad idea. But it also has a radial attack, which ends up being corrosive. Okay, it's only a 1.9 meter range, it's not the best, but it's enough. It's just enough that, honestly, I really want to say this is slightly better than the Kuva Kraken is, because it does more damage than the Kuva Kraken. It has the same crit chance. It has more status chance. The Kuva Kraken was supposed to be a Kraken gun, but they seem to have decided to sear the light here and make the Seer a much better weapon, just in every aspect of it. Okay, it has less status. It has more status even. They share the crit. It has a smaller magazine. It does less impact. It does more puncture, more slash. This, you can see where they made the Kuva Kraken, which is still slightly worse than the normal Seer anyway. But the Kuva Kraken is worse than the Kuva Seer. This has put the Kuva Seer as possibly, just possibly, the second best of the Kuva based secondaries behind the brakk. Personally, I still prefer the Kuva twin stubbers. They do a fraction of the damage this does. They do less status. They do a little bit more crit though. But when you go down to straight up damage, the order just simply has to be Kuva Kraken worse. The Kuva twin stubbers comes in third worst. The Seer second best, with of course the brakk being the best. I did not expect this at all. Finding that this thing ended up being the second best, I really am trying to stick to that. Only because the Kuva brakk is a shotgun based secondary and shoots a lot of pellets. Otherwise, I think the Kuva Seer may have been the best of these. Only because obviously the brakk is, it's got to be the best because of the shots it does, the damage it does, the extra status it has, the extra crit it has, the more impact it does, the fact that it's a shotgun based so it has much more range, but it does have that fall off. And honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I liked the original brakk so much, I would have to say the Kuva Seer could possibly be the best of the Kuva based secondaries, with the brakk just behind it, then the twin stubbers, then the Kraken. But because I like the brakk so much, it's staying at number one. It has to be the best. This fought hard for that position though. I was actually really amazed using this and how well it works for crowd control with that radial attack, and just it's really astonishing on how well this thing did. It surprised me a lot. But we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch yous next time.